Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome back to another in-home repair video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. Stop. Before beginning any repair, always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for proper voltage. Remember to also turn off the water. Hi, I'm Matt with ApplianceVideo.com. Today we're going to be working on this Samsung dishwasher. The customer's complaint is that it doesn't seem to be drying the dishes properly. We have verified that the heat circuit and the heater is working. So what we're looking at is the vent case assembly, which is basically a fan and a vent that opens up to vent the steam out to allow the dishes to dry properly. If there is a problem with the vent case or the vent fan is not running, your dishes will be very damp. You'll have a lot of moisture inside the cabinet when you're done and a lot of water on the dishes. So we're going to be replacing the vent case assembly.
You will need the following tools before you begin this repair: a T20 Torx driver, a Phillips screwdriver, and long nose pliers.
All right, we're going to go ahead and open up the dishwasher. We're going to remove the upper rack. You just pull it out and lift up. And the bottom rack will just pull out. And we are going to start by removing the 6 T20 screws along the sides here on the panel. Best to just remove the front 2 on each side. Once those are removed, you're going to want to grasp the panel because at this point it will want to drop down. So the final screw, sort of set it up a little bit, support it with your knee. Go ahead and remove that screw. Make sure you still have it sort of pressed up here. Fold the door up. And the bottom panel will drop away. There's no wires connected to this. All right, now that we've got our front cover panel removed, we're going to go ahead and fold the door down. And we're going to remove the remaining 6 T20 screws. So the 2 outside ones are short. These 2 inner ones are going to be a little bit longer because they go all the way through and hold the latch assembly. And the other 2 outer ones are going to be short. Just kind of keep something underneath this panel to support it. Once you take all the screws out. All right, now we're going to go ahead and just drop the panel down. And you're going to have your latch assembly that's just kind of setting in place here. You can go ahead and just set that off to the side, let it hang. Okay, now that we've got the console assembly down, just going to go ahead and depress the tab on your connector there. And we'll set the old one to the side. Okay, now that we've got the front panel and the console removed, we can access our vent assembly here. The first thing we're going to do is we'll just disconnect the harnesses to it. And also you'll have to peel back this tape here. All right, so you get your vent tube free. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and open the door. And now we're going to go ahead and remove this Phillips screw here. Once that's removed, we've got this little locking bezel here. And we got a little arrow down there at the bottom. That tells you that it's locked. It should point basically directly at this little rubber grommet here. What we're going to do is take a pair of needle nose pliers and just gently grab right there and twist it counterclockwise, and that will release. Now the only thing we have holding the vent assembly in are these two Phillips screws here. So you want to put your hand on the back side to kind of hold the vent assembly to keep it from just dropping down. We're going to remove the two Phillips screws. We'll fold the panel up. And there's our vent assembly there. When you get your new vent assembly, it may or may not come with a new gasket here. So if it doesn't, you want to make sure that that gasket is either still in place or you put it in place before you put your vent assembly back on. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open the door here. Take our vent assembly, push it up through the bottom. This little black piece should protrude just a little bit if it's seated properly. Now you're going to kind of hold it with one hand here, and we'll go ahead and put the two Phillips screws in. All right, now we can go ahead and put our little locking bezel on. It just drops into place. Again, you have that little arrow there. So what you're going to do is just rotate it around all the way at the end here. You might have to grab a pair of needle nose to get it to lock the last 1/4 of an inch. And that little white arrow should be pointing directly at this little black protrusion here. So that's locked in place. Now we've got our metal cover plate here. We're going to go ahead and set that on and put our Phillips screw in there. All right, now we're going to go ahead and close the door. All right, now we can go ahead and reconnect our harnesses here. The one on there for the little wax motor. All right, and now you got your long console wire here. That was taped right there to the tube. We're just going to take a piece of electrical tape and bring it up. And just secure that to the tube. That's just going to basically keep it from getting pinched when you put your cover panel back on. Last thing we're going to do is just take the end of the vent tube, just tuck it back up right inside here. You'll usually be able to see a little indent on the foam where it was sitting, but just as long as it's up inside this metal tray here on the inside of the door, you're fine. And now at this point, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the console and the front panel. We're going to go ahead and just reconnect the harness. Make sure that that's securely seated. All right, and at this point we can kind of set the latch in place. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and grab our latch assembly here. And I wanna make sure that this portion of it, the side it's got like this little round bump here, make sure that that's facing inward because that's the part that's gonna catch the latch. So this is going to sit down on here, just like this. You should see that your 2 screw holes line up. Like I said, nothing really holds this in place. So what we're gonna do is just go ahead and fold the door down. Set your console in place. Your little plastic part from the latch should protrude just a little bit, about 1 millimeter. It's gonna let you know that you're set up right. And you can start by dropping your 2 long T20 screws in there. Again, just be careful when you're tightening these down. You don't want to over tighten them. So you are just going into plastic. We'll go ahead and put our other 4 short screws, the T20s, in. All right, now we're ready to reinstall our front cover panel. All right, now we're ready to go ahead and reinstall our front panel. We got little tabs on the board here that correspond with the slots on the panel. Just go ahead and okay, once you have it set into position, basically you should be able to lift up on it and see that you'd fill the gap there. And that's gonna let you know that it's set right. So just basically let it drop just a little bit and kind of rest. Fold the door open, pull up on it, and you should see your screw holes kind of get aligned. And just hold one side of it with your hand and get your bottom screw in. Once you get the one side done, go to the other side at the bottom. That one in. Once those 2 are in, you got your tabs at the top, 2 screws at the bottom, so the panel will stay in place. And just go ahead and put your other 4 T20 screws in. All right, now at this point we'll just put our racks back in, and that's going to complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.